So there's three reasons why your marketing won't be scaling. So the first is that you don't have a good enough grasp on your numbers. The second is all about the systems that you've got for delivery. And the third is that you don't have a feedback loop from that data into your systems to create effective optimization. So an understanding of your numbers. So everyone always has a CPA target, a ROAS target, or anything like that. And more often than not, these are just numbers that are plucked out, because they sound good or they've got some type of connection to the profitability at the end of it. Very rarely is there a really robust data set that tells you exactly what the numbers need to be at each stage of the process. So let's take a lead generation business as an example, and we'll go, okay, well, they've got a CPA target of £50 and they need 100 leads per month. But what they haven't got is they've got an understanding of how many of those leads have been contacted, why they haven't been contacted, how many are getting quoted to the quote stage, how much value they've got within those quotes, and then how many are actually converting. Quite often, they've just got a conversion rate of, out of the 100 leads, we typically convert 10 of them, okay? Without that understanding of those numbers, you can't then optimize and be able to go, okay, well, actually, why is it we can't contact these people? Why isn't it that these people who are quoting aren't being sold to? And there's usually lots of information in this data that we can use to be able to optimize and target the audience more effectively. Without that understanding of the data, you're going to fail to be able to scale beyond what you're already doing. So the second is having the right systems in place for consistent delivery. So any business that's scaling will be doing the right type of activity to generate business, whether that's lead generation or e-com sales. As you scale, the time investment and the resources needed to fulfill all that new business scales with it. It becomes more laborious, it becomes more costly, and you need to be able to make sure that you can fulfill that part of it. And what typically happens is while that's being fulfilled, the other side of it gets neglected. So you end up in a feast or famine kind of mode where you spend a lot of time being able to acquire customers, and then you spend a lot of time fulfilling for customers. If you're going to scale and get out of that feast or famine cycle, what you need to do is have the right systems in place to allow other people to be able to take on those systems, take on those acquisition methods that you've already put in place, have already worked for you. So the third aspect is the data feedback loop. And this kind of ties up the first and the second point together, is once you've got those systems in place and you understand the data, you can put the right reporting in place to be able to say what's working and what isn't working. You know what your customer acquisition costs must be, you know what your contact rate must be, and you can start to see whether that's hitting it or it's not, and why, okay? If you've got the right systems in place, you can then tie that into it. If you know that the contact rate declined, and actually this is a result of an increased volume of leads and the sales team can't handle it, well, then you know how to solve that problem, okay? If you know it's kind of the increase in lead, there has been no increase in leads, but the contact rate has declined, well, then you know that it's a sales problem. This data feedback loops allows for optimization right across the process, which allows the scalability. As you grow and you bring more customers in, you will identify more problems along the way. It won't finish the way it started. And without that data feedback loop, you won't be able to optimize and you'll end up leaving cash on the table.